Hey guys, Philosopher here, and today I have my top 10 characters to invest in for the month of November 2021. Now I got to tell you, this video is actually going to be coming out December 1st, and there's a simple reason why. This month I've had a lot going on. I got married. I had my honeymoon. I raced DD5, was the third person to finish DD5. And I got sick. I know some of you noticed I was coughing sometimes or clearing my throat. Sorry about that. I'm trying my best here. I'm trying to make content nonetheless for you guys. I'm trying to keep up with this. So it's a day late, but I think the content is still important because this is usually my most popular video of the month. And the reason that I think this video has generated so much interest is that this is really a video that's not focused on what the best characters are right now. I mean, it's really easy to just look and say, okay, what are the best characters in the game right now? And you could just see which characters you're using. So like, for example, my top 10 to invest in list last month didn't even have Gamora on it. Gamora is clearly one of the best characters in the game right now. However, she's not a character that's going to stand the test of time because she's a character who's basically a bundle of stats. She's all about doing a lot of damage. As soon as that damage isn't special anymore and her team isn't special anymore, her value goes down, and you probably have seen her value is already going down. So the focus of this is which characters have the most value for the long run. Which characters should you invest your gear in, your promo credits, your time? Which characters should you be farming, etc.? That's the point of this list. Now, I know some of you are going to say, well, I don't have access to all the characters in this list. Some of them are, you need to spend on offers. And I get that. But I really can't judge. Some players have some characters, some have others. We're not judging this based on what you have available. We're assuming you have every character available. Which character should you put your resources in? All right, so I'm going to quickly look at the list from last month so you can see where we were last month. This was the list there. Kestrel was at the top and Dr. Doom. And you could see here there were certain characters not even in the game yet. Omega Red, Dormammu, I didn't even have them on the list. You could see who fell off last month. So definitely some changes this month. And I want to start with a bit of an elephant of sorts that is in the room. Well, I guess let me say before I do that, let me just tell you, there's a couple characters that are off the honorable mention list this time, and it's Nebula and Doc Ock. So last time, I started dropping Infinity Watch by a lot. Okay, they were already dropping. If you look back even on the September list, I had dropped Gamora down to honorable mention on the September list. Very controversial. Got a lot of hateful comments and DMs at that time. In October, because I could just see the writing on the wall. She was not a character who was going to last in the long run. But once we heard about Dormammu, it's like, okay, all the Infinity Watch started dropping. Adam Warlock was the only one who really stayed on the list. And I just had a bunch of the rest in honorable mention. Well, here, I took Nebula off the list. And the reason I took Nebula off the list is she seems to me like a character that, yes, she has some value in the tech part of DD5 for now, but she's not even one of the best characters there. She's just okay. She's a filler character, in my opinion. And she's really, her value is primarily on the Infinity Watch team, which is already falling off. Doc Ock, not even really the arena meta anymore, and it's not the best team in war and everything else. Doc Ock, super valuable character still. He's still got value right now. He's very important in those tech nodes, in my opinion. I think he's a better tech character for the tech nodes of the Doom 2 raid than Nebula. But, the Sinister Six has fallen off in war. He's never going to be relevant in arena that I could see at this point. Where is his value going to be for the long run? I just think he's getting a little long in the tooth at this point in terms of power creep. All right, so they're the ones that are off the list. Now I'm going to talk to you about what I'm going to call the elephant in the room. Too soon to tell Dormammu. And here I'm just going to say this. I want to be very real with everyone about Dormammu. I am fortunate enough, or I don't know if you'd say fortunate, maybe, I've poured a lot of time, sweat, equity, whatever, money, all sorts of things into getting Dormammu. So I'm one of the first 3 people in the world to have Dormammu. And I have Dormammu, and he's a very, very good character. He's clearly a very good character. Even if you didn't know how you got him, like if he just appeared in my account one day, I'd be like, oh, this guy's pretty good. Even though he's only 5 yellows and 2 reds, he's got a lot of health and damage and so forth. Very, very good character. I have Fortifying on him for now just because he's a baby. Once he gets up to the full level, I'll probably change his ISO a bit. But I will just say this. It's too soon for me to tell how good he is, how much you should invest in this character. He's very much he's not a character like Doom where it's like, okay, well, he helps in 2 different game modes, so it's obvious how good he is. And I just haven't had enough chance to test him yet. Partly I'm taking my time through the timed run. I've been busy with stuff in real life and don't want to spend lots of cores on getting the timed run done a day or 2 sooner. So I think in my next video I'll have a better sense of this. But for right now, what I would just say my initial impressions are, I don't think he's going to be, transforming your arena defense. In other words, I don't see him being a character who's going to mean you just sit there in number 1 in arena all the time. It certainly hasn't been the case for me. And I think even for Beta Ray, who has him at 7 stars, hasn't been the case for him. I also would just say that, he's a character who is very, very good, but, it's certainly very important, going to be very important in arena and in war. And I have a lot of fun with him in RTA. I don't really see how necessary he'll be in raids because at least right now, the Mystic characters that I have just blow through the raids anyway. I have multiple teams. As long as I use the core new warriors, I could use either the Eternals or Adam Warlock and Silver Surfer, and I can one-shot all the nodes in 2.3. It's really not a big deal. So I don't see him being a super necessary character for raids in the way that Doom is right now. So definitely still the jury's out. He's certainly going to be on this list somewhere next month, but I want to have more time testing with him before I tell you exactly where he is on the list. I'm very careful before I give recommendations. It's just the way I am. A lot of people like to put speculative videos out there, speculative stuff, their thoughts, their guesses. I mean, there's all these people who put out content for DD5 who haven't entered yet. There's like 20-something people in the world who've entered it, and there's people who haven't entered it who are putting out content on what they think the good characters are, which makes... I just don't do that stuff. So even though I've tested this character, I'm holding off on ranking him. All right, let's get to the honorable mentions. So here are my honorable mentions, and I took some off. I took a couple off, like I said, Nebula and Doc Ock, but I've moved. You can already see who I moved down from the list. Adam Warlock, I'm just going to start right there. So Adam Warlock is down from number 8, and I'll just say it's not because Adam Warlock is bad. It's simply that there's really a couple things going on here. First of all, when you look at the Mystic section right now and what's available, the super necessary characters are Dagger, Cloak, and Deathpool in raids. I actually like having Adam Warlock and Silver Surfer as the last 2. I one-shot the nodes all the time with them. I one-shot the boss node with that team, and I did it on the first try. It's very easy, but I have huge characters. I also can one-shot the nodes easily with Dagger, Deathpool, Cloak, and then the new Eternals. Some people who have these characters at low stars tell me that Cersei and Icarus are better at low stars than Adam Warlock and Silver Surfer. I could see that. They're certainly easier because you just press buttons and they kill stuff, whereas Adam Warlock and Silver Surfer is much more about control and putting ability block. They take more skill to play well. In any event, I'm hearing that, and so to me, in raids, Adam Warlock is not necessary. At the very least, he's not necessary anymore. So then, and then his team has fallen off in arena because the Eternals are blasting him out in arena. So, it's not the best war team, offense team anymore because you've got the Weapon X team. So, what is he's fallen off in the short run. And then what's the lasting things in his kit? Well, he is very resilient because he has a revive, which I like. That's very nice. He also on his he does some interesting stuff like on turn he clears regen and stuff like that. He also for example, On spawn, he gives himself Safeguard. Assuming he's not in the full team, it's just himself. Safeguard right now is very limited, although the devs told us that when they introduced Safeguard, that it was going to be, their analogy was disrupted. They said originally Magneto was the only one who had disrupted, but then they spread it around. So look for Safeguard to be elsewhere in the future. But, for right now, that's interesting. But, his kit doesn't do anything super, special. It's rarely a circumstance where you're like, oh, my God, there's only one character that can fit the bill here, and that's Adam Warlock. He does a lot of things well, but he's not special, unique in a wave with his kit. I actually think Silver Surfer, of these two, is going to have more lasting value because of removing charges, which is very unique. And he does some other cool stuff, too. He speeds up, becomes the fastest character in the game by his third turn, that sort of thing. So I took Adam Warlock off this list. I also think Maria Hill, to me, she's probably the third most important member of the Secret Avengers. She's also a character, if you bring her in war, you can't actually use, she actually screws you against certain counters, like if the other team has Deathpool or Jubilee or something. And then Lady Deathstrike, though, is still on the list. She's great. Very, very, very useful in the tech portion of the Doom Raid. Very good in Dark Dimension 5 when I used her there. More on Dark Dimension 5 choices later. Shang-Chi, very good in Doom Raid. Still he has obviously value on War Defense, although much less. But I think he's just a strong standalone skill character, city character, etc. And Moondragon and Fire Level, I think, have value outside of their team. Moondragon is a very good piece and skill nodes on the Doom Raid. You can use her instead of Shang-Chi as your fifth, and you'll be totally fine. She's very good when she has someone feeding her energy like Captain Sam. Fire Level is absolutely clutch in the Kree lane of Gamma, so that alone provides value. And then she, for right now in the bio nodes, has value as well. So I like the fact that she has super high stats and a cleanse. But I do think that she probably will be dropping off soon because we have a new bio team on the way, as we found out recently, the Web Warrior team. All right, so let's get to number 10 on our list. This is not going to surprise you. You may have already peeked and seen when I was going through this earlier, but it's a fantastic character, Sharon Carter. Sharon Carter. And I got to tell you, Sharon Carter is one of the most underrated characters in the game. Absolutely love this character. What I think is awesome about her, first of all, her damage and stats and stuff are better than you think, okay? Fairly fast character even. Not pretty decent speed. But to me, her killer is her opening move, clearing all positive effects and attacking and applying stun and slow. First, turn one stun, and that it chains to and applies slow elsewhere, but that clearing all positive effects and applying stun is huge. And here's the thing, 5,000% extra focus. It's huge. She can stun Cole. She can stun, Colossus. All these characters that are very interesting characters that usually you are not able to land debuffs on, that you usually are these walls you can't get past. She allows you to get past those walls. It makes that team do very well against a team like Uncanny or Secret Avengers also blow through Black Order. This is just a very, very powerful move, and she's a character standalone provides that value. I have actually, when newer players in the game have counseled me, they're like, oh, I'm having trouble in arena against this particular matchup. I've told them, throw in, what do you got? We look through there. Oh, well, I'll tell them, like Sharon Carter, that first turn stun can just take out character X for you and deal, you can, help you deal with that character. All right. So I think she's just a fantastic character that is very, very underrated. All right. Now we go to number 9 on my list, and that is Bishop. Now, Bishop's down 2. Sharon Carter's down 1 because there's been some new additions to the list, but really neither Bishop nor Sharon Carter have lost any ground here. It's just that there's new characters coming in that are super powerful. What I will say about Bishop is, what I like about him is that he is the most important member of the Mutant Raid team. We know this is the best team for rating mutant nodes in Doom 2 and Doom 2.3. The best team is, I can confirm to you because I use them every day, is the Axemen. And he is the most important character. He is the damager for the team. And on top of that, he's also the tank. So when you invest in him, you're getting double your investment there. You're getting damage dealing and tank. You absolutely need to have him as a striker. Generally, people put the rest of the characters in the team as skirmisher, although you can put Beast as a healer. You want him to get as many attacks as possible. He's the one who does all the killing. Definitely, the two key T4s are here on the bottom, and his alt and his passive, but certainly all of them are worthy considerations for upgrading because he's a character you use a lot, and I expect him. He's not going to be on this list forever, but he'll be on this list until we start, breaking up that mutant raid team. All right, and I will also say this before I move on. Another cool thing about Bishop, he's great with just Jubilee or with Jubilee and Beast as a 3-piece, which means that even as there's 1 or 2 new mutants might come eventually, he's going to be a survivor. As long as you use any Axeman, you're going to be using Bishop. He is the core of the team. All right, and now we go to number 8 on the list. And this is a character that has fallen 3 spaces, but is still very important, and that is Silver Surfer. Now, you may be saying, wait, Philosopher, I'm not using Surfer in raids right now, and he's not on my arena team, so why is he so great? That is why I said in the beginning, this is not a test and a list about what is the best character right now. This is a list about what is the best character to invest in the future. And for the long run, I think Surfer's not, he's no longer going to be this like super top of the meta on every arena team kind of character. Fine. But he is going to hold his value for a long while. Why? Well, first of all, clearing charges. He is unique. He's the only character in the game that clears charges. It's an important mechanic. We've seen it a lot. We're going to see more of that in the game inevitably. And he, for right now, is the only solution we have there. That's big. Because there are some circumstances where clearing charges are important, and he's your only choice. That's the first thing. Second of all, he has this fantastic ability where he gains 15% speed per turn, which means by turn 3, he becomes the fastest character in the game by a good margin. That's interesting. He could just get out of control. You can see it where when you're facing enemy surfers in raids, right? They're just devastating. They could just solo your entire team if you're not careful. That's because he scales so well with stats. He gets all that speed. He heals on anybody's turn. So, he's great in raids. He's great in Dark Dimension, things like that, with all that healing. And then he has that amazing basic where he just, gets rid of all his debuffs, steals all the positive effects. Just fantastic character. Plug and play type character who I think may never be at the top again, but he's going to have a long life. Like, he's a character I would not be surprised is on this list for quite some time still to come. And that's saying something because he's already been out several months now. All right. And now the next character on the list, well, it is actually a duo, and it is Cloak and Dagger. Now, you may wonder, wait, Philosopher, is that cheating? Well, I just feel that Cloak and Dagger are a pair that you're not really going to have apart. The game seems to be going that way. Of course, we have the same thing with Icarus and Cersei. This is just another pair that I just don't see you ever splitting off. In fact, if you were watching my DD5 progress, you know that once I misclicked and equipped gear on Adam Warlock and used my miasma, I was really stuck because until I had enough miasma for Cloak, I wasn't going to bring Dagger in solo. I just don't think she's worth bringing in solo. However, I will tell you, as somebody who has a massive dagger as big as any in the game, right? This is as big as it gets at this point. Gear tier 16, 7 red stars. This character is ridiculous at high gear levels right now. That will change over time, but the character is insanely high damage right now. I will literally just press buttons and Cloak and Dagger just solo everything. It really doesn't matter who they're with. That's why I said I can use Warlock and Surfer, and they're just as good. They'll just ability block a couple characters, and then Cloak and Dagger kill everybody. And Deathpool. Absolutely amazing right now. Cloak and Dagger, fantastic in Dark Dimension. Cloak in many ways is more important in the sense that his Dark Force conduit, stealing health, it becomes actually really helpful, and I will tell you, very helpful in Dark Dimension 5 when I used him there. In addition to that, he is the reason that they use the debuffs. In other words, I've tested them solo just to see how they work without each other. And I will say, Dagger without Cloak, she doesn't apply all these debuffs, and this is really part of the value of this. Even at lower stars, a lot of you are telling me you're at 3 stars, 4 stars, you're using these characters in raids and gearing them up because they just, with all the debuffs, they're so valuable. They're more of a control type team, whereas when you have them, I can tell you from my experience at high stars, they're also just insane damagers. In any event, these characters are amazing right now. Do they have the same longevity as some of the characters at the top of this list? No. So in other words, when I compare them to a Silver Surfer's got some unique things that Cloak and Dagger don't have. However, Cloak and Dagger look to be the core of Mystic raiding for the foreseeable future. They don't even have a full team yet. They'll get a couple other members eventually. This team will be around a long time. They're very good. And also for City Dark Dimension, I think Cloak and Dagger will be very good for quite a long time as well. All right, now number 6 on the list, one of my favorite characters, Captain Sam. Now I got to tell you, I know a lot of you originally when I was putting this character on the list, you thought, oh, wait, Philosopher's he's biased in favor of, he loves Captain America and all that. Maybe, I don't think so, but I think that this character just has some real things in his kit that are going to give him longevity. Getting speed bar is so huge. The speed, speed is the name of the game. Speed's so important because if you're, just think of it this way. The more speed you have, the more turns you take. And this is a turn-based game. So if your character's at 1% health and the other guy takes a turn, then they're just going to kill your character. If you take a turn, you can heal them up, right? You can take advantage of the situation when you have more speed, when you take more turns. That's so important. That's so valuable. So to me, this is just huge. We still use Falcon from time to time in war, and this is way better than what Falcon has on his kit. Similarly, ability energy is so helpful to be giving out all this ability energy. Very, very valuable. He gives up energy, and he can be sticking any team, and particularly a skill team, but really any team, and give out energy. That's really nice, and this is every 3 turns. And then this fuels the other abilities. It means that he has really effectively shorter cooldowns. And just in general, this character, I will say at high stars right now, still has awesome stats and hits like a truck. So, when you're in certain circumstances, he just kills everybody. So you don't get as much speed bar off of it. But he's just an absolute beast. And you've probably seen in Doom Raids when you're facing an enemy, Captain America just has high resistance and very high health and all the blocks and healing. It could just be very difficult to take down a Captain Sam if you've ever faced them on the other side. So very, very valuable character. And people are throwing him even on mishmash teams and arenas sometimes because he just adds that much value. So I think that's a character that will be around for a long time. Plus, he's part of the best skill rating team, and that won't go away either. But he's more of a plug-and-play character, whereas a character like Bishop is sort of tied to his team. All right. Now we got number 5, and number 5 on our list. Number 5 on our list is Deathpool, a character I intended, actually, to bring instead of Adam Warlock. I intended to bring her to Dark Dimension 5. Definitely think she'd be very good there as well. But a fantastic character. What I like the most about Deathpool is that she, first of all, one thing is I love the let's see here. She attacks on enemy death. She heals and then attacks the most injured enemy for 300% damage plus clears 3 positive effects. All this out of turn damage is huge. This is cheating. We talked about turn-based games and why turns matter and stuff. This is a way of cheating the turn-based system. instead of waiting for her turn, she can cut in line. So if you have all these characters who are got various speed bar and they're waiting there for their turn, she just cuts to the front of the line and takes extra turns all the time. She can snowball things against the enemy. Particularly with Cloak and Dagger, if you have a big Cloak and Dagger and they just kill a bunch of people, then Deathpool can just then gets all these opportunities to kill more people. It's awesome, and the fact that it's a smart targeting thing that attacks the most injured. It's very, very powerful. Also love how survivable she is. She has that base healing here. She gets the death proof when she gets under 30% health. She has her basic. She heals. Just super, super resilient character. And then in addition to that, I love the ability energy, battery regeneration, and raids. Means that you just, can spam those ultimates from Cloak and Dagger so often. In addition to that, of course, she's also got, I think a underrated ability is this spread of negative effects to adjacent characters, spreading, let's say, ability block or blind or so forth. And then the health steal, I think, gives her some real value in Dark Dimension. And then, of course, she has that ultimate move that can one-shot kill, which is what got attention early on in her kit, but it's not even the most important thing. Just super powerful, super flexible kit that's going to stand the test of time, and it can be a standalone character in a lot of teams. I mean, I see her used, for example, with Brotherhood and Alliance War. She is a character to me that you could just plug in a lot of teams. She's going to add a lot of value. And it was actually hard for me to move her down to 5. She was 3rd last month, but there's a couple other characters that moved above her on this list, and it pained me to move her down to 5. All right, and now number 4 on this list. This is one I really had to think hard about, and that was Omega Red at number 4. And I got to tell you, if I made this list 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have put him this high. I would not have put him as number 4 best character to invest in, because I thought, look, this is a war character. Weapon X is a war team, first and foremost. And I still don't see him. Yes, he does factor in the arena. Yes, some people use him in arena, but he's not really the core there, right? He's not the most important. He's not super important there. But I think there's some things that I've really grown to appreciate with his kit, okay? See, a lot of this is war. I thought I was more of a war character, but here's the thing. This move is absolutely devastating, flipping all the positive effects to negative effects. That's one thing that is awesome, okay? It's much more powerful and deadly than Doc Ock's flip. This trauma and ability block is absolutely huge, and it really can take somebody out of the battle, I think, quite a bit, in a way that other ability block characters have not, and this is on a low cooldown. His stats are absurd. I've got over 1 million health on mine, okay, and 44k damage. Absolutely absurd stats. But what really put him over the top for me was seeing his performance in Dark Dimension 5. He was by far the MVP of the Legendary section, although shocker, is always the MVP in my heart. If you watch my video, you know why. Omega Red was an insane performer. One of the reasons why is that every one of his abilities, this area, steals 10% health from all enemies and redistributes to self. And then the special steals 5% of each target's max health and redistributes to self. And then here, steal 10% health from the primary target and redistributes to self. He's going to be a Dark Dimension beast for a long, long time to come. A long, long time to come. Just absolutely wrecks in Dark Dimension. So to me, that gives this character a lot of longevity. So that's the thing. When I first saw this character and I was thinking about where I would put him on the list, I'm like, war character. He's good, but he's not going to define the arena meta. And, where does he really fit in? And then I saw how great he was in Dark Dimension 5 for me. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I can see this guy being just a standard choice in Legendary sections for Dark Dimension 6, 7, and so forth, because he's just, that health steal is awesome. And he's got all the current power creep stats. I mean, 1 million health speaks for itself. All right, guys. Now we're going to the top 3 on the list. The top 3 on the list. And for the first time since this list's inception, Dr. Doom has slipped to number 3. Now, some of you have been urging me to do something like this for a while because, hey, Doom's not that great and this and that. And I totally disagree. I think this character is super underrated. He's by far the most important character in the tech section of the Doom raid. He's still a very viable choice for Mystic. Okay, I was talking about all the Mystic choices out there when I was bumping Adam Warlock off the list. I didn't even mention Doom. You could throw him in there too, and he's very good. But I will just say Doom is still super important, super powerful. He's great in war. I'm seeing more hybrid teams with Doom than ever before. Very interesting combos. We could talk more about that when I get to my war offense and defense tier list. And then in addition to that, he now has a 5th red star. I very quickly got that on him. That's the best use of your dark promos by far. But he's just a character who, just without even looking at all that, I mean, the stats are still very good. You know, they still hold up, 42k damage, 879k health. But to me, what really sets him apart is the move here where he is basically gets 6 turns in a row. He gives himself 3 turns. This 300% speed bar to himself and to the ally with the highest damage. Remember I said, turn-based game, turns matter the most. Well, 6 turns in a row. Even if someday his damage is no longer special or important, being able to give him and the ally with the highest damage 6 turns in a row is just devastating. In Arena, you've all had that circumstance where this move goes off, where this character drops below 50% health and then he gains ability, energy, and full speed bar by 50%. We've all been there, where you're in a winning situation in Arena or an RTA or whatever, and you get doomed to low health, and then boom, this kicks in, he takes a turn, and then you end up losing, right? Because 6 turns in a row are just, for the other side, is just devastating in a turn-based game. And so I think and then he's got other things, by the way. The Doom bots that spawn all the time are just awesome. Summoning on spawn are awesome for Dark Dimension. They're awesome for raids. He's just got a lot. And then obviously he still does very, very significant damage here with the special. This is a very good character. Underrated, if you could believe it. People were whining about this character for Dark Dimension 4. I was the 4th person to unlock him, and he was more obviously impactful for me than Dormammu. Like when I got him, I'm like, wow, this character is just like, boom, this is amazing. I mean, Dormammu is very good too, but this character is like really, really good. So I think Doom's going to be around for a while, particularly given his relevance in 2 sections. I see him being around for quite some time on this list. All right, that brings me to number 2 on this list. And here's another first time for this list for quite some time. Since her inception, Kestrel has been number 1 on this list. In fact, the month she came out, it was controversial, I think, that I ranked her above Doom. But for the first time, she's number 2 on this list. Now, that says something, right? Because she's been out for several months. She's still number 2 on this list for the long haul because she's got a lot to offer. Okay, she's in 2 different portions of the raid, tech and skill. So she just helps you in 2 different parts of Doom raid, which is awesome. And she's not only helpful there, she's the backbone of both sections. Like, Secret Avengers are good, but without Kestrel, they're a lot worse. And in tech, she is even more important than Doom. Like, she is the number 1 top dog in the tech section. And on top of all that, she's got a couple things in her kit that are just super special, right? First of all, the fact that when an enemy with defense down is attacked, that she gets an out-of-turn attack, cutting the line in the way the Deathpool does. This is super, super, super amazing because it's better than Deathpool's, right? Deathpool requires you to kill the enemy. But this, you can do it every turn. As long as an enemy with defense down is attacked, she gets her out-of-turn attack. So she essentially jumps the line all the time. She also, not only cleanses debuffs, but heals herself based on the debuffs that are cleansed. That's amazing ability as well. But another key thing, of course, she has this, characters killed by her ultimate can't be revived. That's also very special. Black Bolt's really the only other one I can think of that has something like that. But then But then, on top of that, this is a big one. While this character is charged, enemies cannot summon or clone. Huge. It's such a big deal that a character is being introduced in the game, Magic, to prevent her from completely nerfing and destroying Phoenix. Kestrel so completely devastates a Phoenix team because Dark Phoenix never comes out that they had to introduce a whole new character just to deal with Kestrel in one small situation. She does the same thing to, let's say, Mr. Sinister, and she does the same thing to a Doom until that charge is gone. She really nerfs him by getting rid of his Doom bots. I mean, she has so much to offer. And by the way, she's the only character in the game that has that ability. She has so much to offer that it is very hard for me to see her being off this list anytime soon. And it also means that the character that is displacing her at number 1 has to be truly special, and that is Icarus and Cersei. This is another one where I felt like splitting these two characters up made no sense. And I just think, Cersei, and then I would say Icarus is the more important to invest in terms of gear and so forth. These are, right now, the best characters to invest in for the long haul. Why? Well, they're so ridiculous in the arena meta that you can literally bring in a level 1, Loki, a level 1 Cable. You could bring in a low B Emma, and they could just solo, getting some extra speed bar. They can solo an enemy team. Icarus's damage is ridiculous. I don't even have the 7th star on him. He's just absolutely ridiculous level of damage. And all these other things built into the kit, flipping all the positive effects to negative effects, can't be dodged or blocked. This insane ultimate. The fact that both of them when they drop below 40% health, just clear everything and come right back up. He clears ability block for himself and Cersei. This character and Cersei are so insane, so ridiculous that in war, this two piece thrown with like 3 random, extra characters are amazing on offense and they're amazing on defense. And they have special things. So the first time we have special characters that have special arena bonuses. And so I just think Arena is an important game mode to a lot of players, particularly free-to-play players. Dark Dimension is important. Obviously, I think that's, to me, is the most important game mode. And both her and Cersei get, both her and Icarus get special value there. I just think these characters are so valuable. And, of course, in raids, a lot of you are telling me you find them a lot better than Adam Warlock and Silver Surfer, and I trust that I've gotten so much feedback, particularly from people I trust, like Yeti, that they've had that experience. So all of that tells me that these characters are so obvious slam dunk investments that it's time to go all in on them. So these are the sorts of characters that put gold promos into and put gear on and do whatever you got to do to get the shards of those characters, because those characters, I think, are going to be meta-defining for at least a good period of time. In this game, it seems like nothing lasts very long. Scopely has really kind of made it so the long-term value of the characters, which is always in decline, slow decline, it goes by very quickly. But I think Cersei and Icarus are going to hold their value for a long time to come. So just to recap our list here for a second, Icarus and Cersei are now number 1. Kestrel, and the reason I just think she's no longer really arena relevant. I mean, I do see her there sometimes on defense to nerf Dr. Doom, but she's just of limited value there. I think, she's more and she's certainly more important in raid. Doom, Omega Red, Deathpool, Captain Sam, Cloak and Dagger, Silver Surfer, Bishop, and Sharon Carter. That's our list for the month of November, even though you're watching this December 1st of 2021. All right, if you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe to this channel. If you got complaints, questions, comments, you can post them below. You can also go to my Discord. That's where we have a lot of great discussions and theory crafting and all that. That's linked below as well. You can also go to my Twitch stream, which is where I make these videos. That is linked below as well too.